I'm going to give you 13 topics of discussion to plan to talk about, inshallah. You don't have to talk about them all at once. So the first thing, one of the things to talk about is how you view marriage life. What's marriage life to you? How do you envision marriage? What's marriage to you? How do you see a husband to be and a wife? How do you think their relationship should be? What is family marriage life? How do you see it? Sometimes opening this up will entice the other person to project and to mirror you and to sort of talk as well. So talking about marriage life is a discussion that you need to bring up some way or another. A second one is, what qualities would you like to see in a spouse? Or you might start with yourself and say, qualities I like to see in a spouse. That people always ask me this question. They say, what qualities do you like to see in a spouse? So you can see how I'm talking right now to you. It's very casual. Don't make the person feel intimidated or anything like that. Try as much as you can. And then she or he will say, what do you like seeing in a spouse? Because they're also ready to know too, right? And you say, well, this is what I like in a spouse. I like to see this or that. And they talk about the things that you like to see. Every person is different. Number 3, you need to talk about each other's family dynamics. You have to bring family and culture into it. When you get married, just two people get married, families are coming together, cultures are coming together. Sometimes even whole tribes are coming together, depending on where you're coming from. So you're coming to the whole marriage and to the whole family. You need to know who you're dealing with, the in-laws. You're going to have children, inshallah. Those children, they want their grandparents, they want their uncles and aunts. You've got to look at family. What's the dynamics in your family? And while you're talking about that, talk about how do you get along with your family? What's your relationship with your mum and dad, your siblings? So talk about that and open these discussions. Talk about culture. One brother said, I have this, a lot of brothers, they talk about this, subhanAllah, and that's another question, and that is about living arrangements. Living arrangements and family dynamics are very close. Some cultures are very strict, and they put pressure on the son that he and his wife, the daughter-in-law, must live with their parents. And this is a very hot topic for a lot of people. And I can tell you outright, brothers and sisters, that Islam does not recommend for couples, a husband, to pressure his wife in living with his parents or with anybody else. A wife has a right to her own dwelling, to her own little dwelling. Even if it's in the back, the point is it's her own. She has her own privacy, her own home. That's the therapy for a wife. And to make her home nice, and she's the queen of the house. She does whatever she wants. Brothers and sisters, it's actually oppression and zulm in Islam to pressure or force the wife to live with your parents. Some people might say, but what if we're in financial difficulty? I say to you, that's why you have the period of engagement. You need to talk about these. These are crucial points to talk about. You must talk and agree on them, and right from the beginning. Sometimes she wants to put a hijab on. Maybe if she doesn't wear the hijab, she can't feel comfortable. The brothers come in, the brother-in-laws come in, sometimes the sister-in-laws. Everybody visits. It's the parents' house. She has no privacy. Let's move on to another one. How you each spend your free time. So what are your hobbies? Do you do community service work? Do you like going to the movies? Do you watch things? Do you like going on Netflix? Do you like going on social media? Do you have Facebook? What do you do? What pictures do you like putting on? These are very important to talk about in this day and age. You might even talk about what's cheating to you when it comes to social media. It's very important. Some people are very, very sensitive about this point. So discuss these matters about social media, what you like and dislike, and they can talk to you as well. We move on. Finances. You must open a way to talk about finances. If you can't talk together, talk with her father as a man. Or maybe get someone else to talk with her or someone else to talk with him. But you must talk about financial arrangements. Maybe as you get more comfortable to talk, inshallah, later on, you can talk about financial management. For example, work, managing the money. Is it your money and my money together? Or is it your money and my money? Or is it your money is my money and my money is my money? Is that how it goes? It doesn't matter which one you want to go with, so long as you agree. Have fun, whatever you like. Moving on, another thing to open up is your social life. Introvert, extrovert, these are very important. Knowing a person's friends is very important because the friends can tell you a lot about yourself, and usually you've got to investigate. A good thing is to look on social media, ask other people about them. There's nothing wrong with that. Number 8, talk about children, having children and raising them, educating them, and very importantly, naming them. This is a big thing. I've seen couples fall apart over the naming of a child. Some people are very strict with culture. And some people, their parents, they interfere too much. That's why when I told you talk about family and how they are, you'll open up these other areas that will tell you a lot about the person and yourself. Look, there's no right or wrong answer here, brothers and sisters. I'm not telling you what the answer should be. What we're telling you is these are factors that you guys need to learn about. And then decide. Go home, think about them, and then make a decision. Don't be hasty. But naming a child, do you want children in the first year, second year? What do you think about children? How many children do you anticipate? You can't say, well, that's up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Well, okay, it is up to Allah, but do you like having children? Do you not like having children? So these things open up a great discussion. Last three things, inshallah. Ask about future ambitions and goals, especially career. How important is your career to you? My career is like this. Very importantly also to ask about, number 10, health issues, disabilities. If you're embarrassed to talk about them, get someone else to explain that to them. That's haram in Islam to hide these things. Number 11, the past. A lot of sheikhs and imams said, it's none of anyone's business to know about your past. Allah forgives all sins. Yes, that is true. People should not expose their past sins. That is true. That is a general blanket rule. But I'm going to just let you think about something. You know yourself. Some sins of the past are not that easy to just dismiss. Some sins of the past between telling a potential spouse cannot be easily dismissed. You have to think, is that sin of my past going to show up in my marriage again? Does it have the potential? I'll give you an example. If a person used to be on drugs before and they were addicted and it was hard, how long ago was it? If drugs can come back into the marriage, not in the beginning, but later on it can. Because people take drugs often either for recreation or when they get addicted, it becomes mental issues, depression and all of that stuff. In a marriage, there's going to be ups and downs. A person can resort back to the drugs. Is it important to talk about it? In my opinion, wallahi, you don't have to take it. It's important to talk about it. But of course, there has to be respect and people have to cover up for their sins. So sometimes I say it's good, and at times I say maybe, and at times I say it's none of their business. And lastly, how would you want a wedding? You might be thinking, oh, is that important? It's very important. In fact, saying how you want a wedding and the details of it will tell you so much about the mindset of the person, about their family, about your family, to see if things can get along. I've seen families have fights in weddings over things that weren't clearly talked about before. So it's important to talk about these things.